Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're doing a little bit of fiero work today. Went to a car show yesterday in Ridgewood, New Jersey, and fantastic show, really good time, but went to start the car and nothing. Very slow crank, battery was stone cold dead. Now mind you, I drove there, battery was perfectly fine. So my first thought was, wow, maybe my alternator's going. Nope, we jumped in with my buddy Dave's fiero. You've seen Dave on the channel before, and his car. And she started right up, fired up, ran beautifully. So that left one item, the battery. And I blame myself because the battery is probably close to 7 to 8 years old. And I should have replaced it, and I didn't. So guess what we're gonna do today? We're gonna replace this battery. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. It's very simple. If you've never done it, this will be a good way for you to learn so that you can do it yourself if you run into a situation like this. If you already know how to do it, then you were probably in the same situation that I was at one point. Okay guys, let's get started. We're gonna go right through the battery replacement. Easiest cake and, or pie. Is it pie or cake? I don't remember. Okay guys, for those who don't know, the battery in the Pontiac Fiero is located in the rear of the car on the passenger side of the engine compartment, beneath the engine grills. Now, if you have a fastback, like my 88 GT here, you're gonna have the longer engine grills that have one screw holding it in to release it from its base. If you have a notchback, like the rat over there, you're gonna have the shorter engine grills, and they'll have two screws to release from the base. Basically, you just turn the screw here and pop it right out. Slide it out of the base, which is a little tougher to do with one hand here. There we go. Put it to the side, and there you have your battery. So let's get started on this. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what tools you're going to need to do this. Okay guys, just going to go over some of the tools we're going to need to replace the battery in this car. First thing you'll need is an 8mm wrench. I recommend a gear wrench. Makes your life a lot easier, as it's a very tight space to get into to get to the negative terminal. You're going to need a small 1/4-inch ratchet, a 7mm socket, and corresponding extensions for the ratchet, a 13mm socket, and a 3/8-inch ratchet. Now, the 8mm, as I said, is going to be for removing the terminals from the battery. The 7mm is going to be for removing the bolt that holds down the battery shield. We'll see that as we're removing the battery. The 13mm with the long extension, the 13mm is for the battery hold down bolt. The long extension is so that you can get around the fastback bodywork. On the notchback, you don't really need something this long, but on the fastback, you're going to want to be able to come up above the bodywork in order to remove that 13mm socket, that 13mm bolt. And this just makes it a little easier from working from up here so that you can avoid coming into contact with the bodywork at all. But the last thing you want is to scratch it or bang it or hit it with a tool as you're working on it. And then your final tool going to be a 3/8-inch ratchet. I like my snap-on cordless electric ratchet, but a hand ratchet will work just as well. All right, so let's get started on changing this battery, and you'll see how really simple this is. Now, if we take a close look at the battery here, you'll have your positive terminal here, your negative terminal here, and your 13mm battery hold down bolt here. And now this is what you're going to be releasing to remove the battery. Now, the Fiero's battery are side post batteries. Most of you will be familiar with batteries that have the terminals on the top. Fieros have 2 terminals on the sides, making it a side boost battery. Alright, so let's get set up and we're going to start removing this battery. Now, one thing I want to mention is that when you're working on the fastback, just the design of the fastback itself makes it a little more difficult to reach the battery, as you have all this extra body work to work around. Now, you want to be careful that you don't scratch your paint or damage the body work at all. So what I like to do is I place a protective cloth fender cover over the bodywork to make sure that I'm not going to be leaning right on the paint or reducing any chance of scratches. Okay guys, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the 13mm bolt. I have my extension on the bolt. Okay, here we go. Alright guys, when you remove the bolt, you're going to want to take the hold down block with it, as this is the block that actually holds down the battery and the bolt is what locks the block into place. One little tip, when you're putting it back in, put little anti-seize on the bolt to make sure that it never seizes down into your battery tray, because that could be a problem if that happens. Alright, now we're going to disconnect the 2 battery terminals. General practice is always disconnect positive first and reconnect last. Alright, first thing we're going to do is remove positive terminal. And now the negative terminal. This one's a little trickier because it is hidden all the way here, so you kind of just have to feel for it. And once you get it on, now your battery is completely disconnected from the car, and now it's just a question of lifting it out of the body. Now, before you remove the battery, you're going to want to remove the battery shield here. That's held in place with a 7mm bolt that's right here at the base of the shield. You're going to pull that out, and then it hooks in to the back of the battery tray here. So once you disconnect that, you can just kind of move it over so you can get your hands on the battery and pull it right out. Okay guys, once you get the battery out of the car, which is a little bit of a pain in the rear with this fastback body, you're going to want to inspect the battery tray, make sure that there's no damage, that it's not rotting through, that the battery hasn't spilled in it and started eating away the metal. This battery tray here is in good shape. And now let me show you what we were talking about as far as where everything hooks up. Now, this is where that hook on the battery shield will go. Down here, if you look very carefully, let me see if I can show it to you. There's a small opening there. That's where that small little peg will go into the battery tray to hold it here. And right here, if we can get the camera to, whoops. Right down there, you can see the bolt. Let's see. Here we go. Right down there, you can see that's the 8mm bolt there. Basically, you just have to loosen it and slide the battery shield over. Pull the tab out of here, unhook it from here, and you can pull the battery shield right out. And then it's just a matter of grabbing and lifting the battery out of the battery tray. And as much as I like my fastback, I gotta tell you, this is much easier to do on a notchback. Okay, now we're gonna be dropping the new battery in. That should prove a little easier, as the new battery actually has a strap so that I could lift it and drop it into place. There we go. One thing you gotta remember, these things are quite a bit heavy, and you don't want to drop it. But just carefully drop it right into place. Lower it down. And put it right into its new home. Right there in the battery tray. Now, the first thing you want to do after that is reinstall your battery shield. Route your cable through the opening. Get it into its little slot there. Get the clip, the little slot, and the 7mm right where it belongs. Let's make sure all our cables are loose. Very good, very easy, very good. Now we're going to tighten down that 7mm. Because you don't want this shield falling over. There we go. Everything is in place, nice and neat. Okay, now the only thing left to do is install our battery hold down. Give it a tug, make sure it's not going anywhere. The last thing you want is your battery to go moving anywhere. And now we can start. Make sure your terminals are nice and tight. You don't want that loosening up on you. This is the one that's always fun. Once you make a connection, you can start to hear the cars come back to life. As you hear certain things click and whir as power starts coming back into the car. Now you will be doing a lot of this by feel, as very nice. Okay, we have to tighten that 7 level down a little bit. Always make sure you recheck everything. There we go. All right, guys, and that is pretty much it as far as replacing a battery in a Pontiac Fiero. Only thing left to do is reinstall the engine cover, and it's completely done. All right, guys, I just thought I'd give you a look at the original battery in this car. Well, not the original, but the one that I replaced. I want to say probably 7 or 8 years ago. And of course, I took to heart their, 5-year lifespan that they have listed right on the battery. And instead of keeping it for 5 years, I kept it for about 8. So there you go. AC Doco batteries. Yeah, they really do hold out. This is a 550 cold cranking amp 65 RC. And the new one, 700 cold cranking amps and 100 RC. So this is actually quite a bit more powerful battery than the AC Doco, which more is always better. You never want to go less. So that's it, guys. We're done. Simple bit of maintenance. You guys ever want to change your batteries, now you know exactly how to do it. It's very simple, easy, and really doesn't take a lot of time. All right, guys, so there you got it. Quick and simple repair. Next time you guys have an issue with your battery, just change it. I should take my own advice a little more often. Anyway, so that's going to do it. The car, she starts up beautifully now. No more problems so far. And I guess I will see you guys the next time we have a little more work to do on the car, or when we get started with Project Rebirth on the Rat. So until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.